Hi guys, welcome to the channel. This is Eat with Adam, welcoming you all to our kitchen. It's Jollof Day. Let's make this party chicken jollof. Okay, so I'll start by boiling my fresh tomatoes, then I'll go ahead and blend it. This is it. I cook it so that when I add it to the stew, it will not be splattering everywhere and the cooking time too will reduce. These are the ingredients I'll be using: ginger, garlic, anise, this fresh black peppercorn. I'll be using some Maggi shrimp tablets, Sankofa spices, and I'll be using some curry powder, and I'll be using a lot of pepper and onion. Okay, I use about 14 to 15 onions, medium size of onion for this stew. So after doing everything, prepping all my ingredients, ECG decided to show me shege by taking their light at this moment, so I have to go manually by blending with my hand. I'm grinding it with my hogba and tapoli. This is the work, the doing of the Lord. Now I'll go ahead and add some vegetable oil into my pot. When I allow it to heat up, I'll be using this size of tomatoes. Okay, this is about 1,000 grams of tomato paste. I'll just go ahead and scoop the tomato paste into the oil and I'll stir everything together. I'm going to fry my tomato paste to the extent or to the point where it doesn't taste sour again. I don't want to be eating my stew and it to be sour. I don't like that. So I've cooked my tomato paste for about 25 minutes, and that's my grinded tomatoes that I added earlier. And at this point I'll go ahead and add my spices blend, all the spices I showed you. I've blended everything, or I've grind everything. I'll add everything to the stew. Guys, I have a detailed video of this stew. I'm going to link it up there, so after watching this video, or you can watch it in order to get a full a detailed explanation to it. Okay. So this is time for me to add my spices. I'll add my curry powder, my Sankofa gravy and stew spices. I've added two sachets of each. Okay, I'll use 2 Maggi shrimp tablets too. I'll just crush it and add it to my stew. This stew take about an hour to get done. And I'll go ahead and stir everything. As you can see, the stew is not splattering everywhere because I have tried so much to prevent water from entering the stew. Okay, that is why I boiled my tomatoes first before grinding it. Okay. So I've added some salt. After adding all the spices, I've realized it needs a little bit of seasoning, so I go in with some salt. About an hour later, I've realized that my stew is done and the oil is too much, so I have to scoop some of the oil down. I'll use it for different things, making other stews. Okay, this is what we have here. The oil helps your stew to fry fast very well, and it prevents it from burning also. Okay, so if you want to make a fast stew and you don't want the stew to burn, add a lot of oil. After everything, you can scoop it off. Okay. I've added my Scotch bonnet pepper or bakboshito for some flavor and some heat, extra heat. And this is my herrings. I've just broken it into pieces. You can use herring powder, shrimp powder as you wish. Okay, so at the end of the day, I'm going to add my onion, sliced onion, and at this point our stew is done. I did this stew prior to making the jollof. Okay, so if you want to cut down time of cooking, just make this big batch of a stew, put it in the fridge. Anytime you want to cook your jollof, you just bring it out, dish it, and prepare your jollof within an hour. Okay, so I'm going to start preparing the jollof by seasoning my meat. I'm going to use chicken. Okay, so ginger, garlic, and I've used some chicken spices. I've added everything, blend it, and I'll add it to my chicken. This is full chicken. So I'll just go ahead and boil it very nicely. My nice seasoned chicken is boiling. I'm going to boil this for about 35 minutes. Okay, Allow it to boil. At this point, the chicken has boiled beautifully. It's time for us to fry it. Did you remember the oil we scooped from the stew? You are going to be using that to fry the meat. You can use any oil, clear vegetable oil, to fry it, but I have that oil there, and the oil is also seasoned. I want a flavor packed jollof, so why not use that oil from the stew to get a flavorful fried chicken? Okay, that's why I'm using it. It made the chicken flavorful and very, very tasty. So we are going to be frying our meat till it is crispy and golden brown. You can see all the head, the feet, everything, every part of the chicken is being fried. Flavorful, packed, crispy chicken. So our chicken is done. We just go ahead and start making our jollof. This is my stew. I told you I made the stew prior, so I put it in the fridge. Days later, I'm making my stew. My jollof. I'm making my jollof. Okay, so I add my stew to my pot. I allow it to heat for about a minute, then I add my rice. I'm using about 7 cups of rice for this recipe. Okay, I'll just go ahead and stir everything very nice. Make sure when you are making your jollof, you use a lot of stew. That's going to make your jollof flavorful. Okay, so after using a lot of stew, you don't need to add stew. Like some people, when they are eating jollof, they add stew to it again. If you use mashed stew already, you will not need that extra stew. Do you get what I mean? I've added a stock from the chicken, added some water. I've used about 1,000 ml of water, or 1 liter of water. That is exactly 2 sachets pure water. If you want to know, you don't know how to measure it, just pick 2 sachets of water for this recipe. 7 cups of rice, 2 sachets of pure water. I make sure I stir everything very well, very, very well. I make sure everything is well mixed, and I tested it and I realized it needed a little bit of seasoning. I've added my salt, and I'll stir. Make sure everything is well incorporated and married and united in the pot. I'll cover it and start boiling my jollof. I'm going to cook this under very low heat. Jollof can burn, so make sure your heat is low so that it will cook very nicely. You don't need a lot of water to cook jollof if you want your jollof to come out crowd pleasingly. So I'll just stir nicely. So in between times, for about 8 minutes, I'll stir my jollof. Okay, 8 minutes. Every 8 minutes, I'll stir my jollof. If you don't stir your jollof, some parts are going to cook and some parts will not cook. So you constantly need to be stirring your jollof. Okay, and make sure in stirring you are careful so that your grains don't break and your jollof will not look crowd pleasingly. Okay, so when you finish stirring your jollof, you can cover it with some paper towel or parchment paper or aluminium foil. You can use a clean napkin to cover it in order to trap the heat inside to cook very fast. Okay, when cooking jollof, make sure you cover it with something to help trap the heat into it for it to cook very nicely. You don't need a lot of water to cook jollof. So I'll keep stirring between time. Like every 8 minutes I will stir to prevent it from burning and to make sure that every part of the rice is cooked. Else you are going to cook jollof that some parts are cooked, some parts are not cooked well. Stirring, consistent stirring. Cover it with some parchment paper or clean napkin. Covered mine. Or if you don't have all those things, you can use a heavy rubber, though it's not advisable, but what to do. Cover it for the last time, and voila, just 1 hour under very low heat. Very, put your heat on very low, okay, to get a perfect cooked, crowd pleasing, delicious jollof rice. Because our stew has been made prior to making this jollof, it just took about an hour because it is under very low heat. So it took about an hour to get cooked. Okay, this jollof, trust me when I say it is very delicious. If you serve this to your guests, they will not stop singing your praises. crowd pleasing jollof is ready to dig in for this festive season. Guys, hope you've learned something new. See you next in another video. Until then, keep trying new recipes. Stay safe. I love you all. Bye bye.